Hello students, so welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are going to study about the flowers. Now in case of flowers, see first of all what is the flower? It is nothing, it is a modified shoot where the shoot apical meristem is changing into floral meristem and internodes will not elongate and the axis is condensed. Now flower is born on a stalk, the stalk of the flower. This is a stalk of the flower which is known as pedicel, which becomes flat to form this structure that is known as thalamus. So it is a modified shoot. How we will justify? Just try to understand here. Here we are finding the whorls are present. Okay, the whorls are present like calyx, corolla, androecium, and gynoeciums are present. So these are the modified leaves. See, this is one whorl where the calyx will be present. This is another where corolla is present. Then next whorl will be androecium. And then last whorl will be, innermost whorl will be gynoecium. So all these are modified leaves. How we will justify it? Yes, it is modified leaves. Suppose let us do the internode elongation. By applying gibberellic acid, let us see what will happen in the internode elongation. Now see here, this is your stalk and this is thalamus, okay? So we are finding that here calyx is present, means sepals, member are known as sepal. Here corolla, the members are known as petals. Then this is your androecium whorl. Members are known as stamens. And this is last, innermost is your gynoecium whorl. Okay, innermost is your gynoecium, which is your carpel. Now, if suppose we apply gibberellic acid, then you have to see here, you have to imagine this diagram this way. Let us assume this is one, this is thalamus only. I made the thalamus long. So I'm finding here, this is your sepal is present. Okay. And then this is your petal is present. So these are the node area from where these are found. These are the nodal areas, indicates these are the nodes, and as a result, all the sepal, petal, stamen, and carpels, they are nothing, they are the modified leaf. Is it clear? And the internode area between these, this is known as, stalk is known as gynophore because it is bearing the gynoecium. And this internode is bearing the androecium, so this is known as androphore. This is the one which is bearing the petal, so this is known as anthophore. So we can find the internodes if we apply the gibberellic acid, indicating it is nothing. Your shoot apical meristem has become into the floral meristem. Is it clear? Now, anthophore is seen in dianthus. These are the few examples. You have to learn it for your competitive point. Okay. Androphore is seen in passiflora. All will not be present in every one plant only. These are the different examples. For example, in passiflora, you can find androphore, but that you will not find the anthophore there. Is it clear? Now, gynophore. Gynophore is seen in capparis. Sometimes what happens, you can find both. You are able to see both androecium and gynoecium. So we call it as gynandrophore. Let me write it here. This internode together is present. I'm just writing it here, see. Then this is known as gynandrophore. And the example for gynandrophore is cleome. Gynandra. So till now what I try to explain you कि flower is nothing, it is actually में modified shoot only. And all the part of the flowers are nothing, they are leaf coming from the node. How we will know that they are leaf only coming from the node? You apply gibberellic acid. Internode elongations will be there. So all these leaves are coming from the node, and internodes we can see it, which justify that yes, flower is modified shoot apical meristem. See, this is your thalamus, and here this is your sepal present, green color. Sepal is always green in color, generally, okay? It is always green in color. Then this is your petal, which is colorful to attract the agents, pollinators. So this is your petal. Then this is your stamen, which is the male part of the flower. And this is carpel, that is ovary, style, and stigma. So flower is having four whorl. Whorl of the flower is calyx. Then the member of that whorl is known as sepal. If the whorl is your corolla, then member is known as petal. If it is androecium, then member is known as stamen. And if the whorl is gynoecium, then the member is known as carpel or pistil. Now symbol what we will be using in our explanation in the further videos. If suppose I'm writing K, it means it is for calyx, C is for corolla, A is for androecium, and G is for gynoecium. Clear? Now this is the male whorl, androecium is the male whorl, and the gynoecium is the female whorl. So these two whorl, calyx and corolla, are your accessory whorl. Okay, calyx and corolla, these two whorl are your accessory whorl. So let me write it here. These two are your accessory whorl, and these two are your necessary whorl. Now sometimes what happens, you cannot find calyx and corolla. Calyx and corolla are not differentiated. Then instead of calyx and corolla, we will find one whorl that is known as perianth. And the member is known as tepal. So when calyx and corolla are not clearly visible, try to understand please, when calyx and corolla, they are not clearly visible. Okay, when they are not clearly visible, in place of this, you are finding one whorl that is known as your perianth. And the member of the perianth is known as tepal. So you are using the symbol P. Basically, four whorls are only there. Please remember, don't confuse. This is the first whorl, second whorl, third whorl, and fourth whorl. Only four whorls are there. Perianth is the condition when you cannot distinguish calyx or corolla. In that case only. Now, if suppose all the four whorl of the flowers are present, if all the four whorl of the flowers are present, then we say flower is complete. The flower can be complete flower. Complete flower means all four whorls are present. Or it can be incomplete also. It means one or other whorl is missing. So incomplete flower means with any of the four whorl is missing. Now, if suppose both androecium and gynoecium are present, then we will say flower is bisexual. And we will draw it with this symbol in the further videos. We'll be explaining this way. Bisexual condition. Is it clear? When both androecium and gynoecium is present. And if only androecium or gynoecium is present, only one is present, then we will say unisexual. It can be, condition can be, if it is this way, then we will say only it is male flower. And if suppose here we call male flower as staminate, and if only this female flower is present, then we will say pistillate. Is it clear? This is one plant, and on this one plant, let us assume here I am finding the bisexual flower. Okay, I'm just drawing it this way. Please try to understand. Bisexual flower are present on this plant. This is one plant on which flowers are unisexual, but both type of flowers can be present. Male flower can be present as well as female flowers are also present. So here I've drawn flower is bisexual. But here I've drawn the flower is unisexual. Is it clear? So plant is, in both the cases, only one plant is sufficient for producing the seed. So plant is monoecious. So plant here is monoecious. Please understand the basic concept. Monoecious means we want only one plant for fertilization. Now see here, this is one plant which is only bearing the male flower. Let us assume in the gymnosperm we have studied the cycas. In gymnosperm cycas there is one male plant and one there is entirely female plant. This is entirely female plant. So it means flowers are again unisexual here. Both side flowers are unisexual, but now we will say plant is dioecious because we want two plants for producing the seed. Is it clear? So please understand the difference between the unisexual and bisexual flowers and unisexual, monoecious and dioecious plants. So monoecious plants can have unisexual flower or bisexual flower, but dioecious plant will have only unisexual flower. Is it clear? The monoecious can have both type of flower, but dioecious will have only unisexual flower. Symmetry of flowers. Flower can be divided into two equal half in any plane passing through the center. If the plane has to just pass through the center, it can divide into two equal half in any plane. But it should pass through the center, then we will say it is radial symmetry. And radial symmetry, in case of the plants, we will use it as actinomorphic. We will say it is actinomorphic flower. An example of actinomorphic is your mustard, datura, and chili. Example is mustard, datura, and chili. Now, if suppose the plant can be cut into two equal half in only one plane passing through the center and two equal half can be produced. Okay, then this type of symmetry is known as bilateral symmetry. And bilateral symmetry is also known as zygomorphic. It is known as zygomorphic. Example of zygomorphic is your pea, bean, gulmohar. These are the few examples. Now, sometimes the flower cannot be cut into two equal half. It cannot be cut, then such type of flowers are known as asymmetric. Asymmetric flower, which cannot be cut into two equal half in any plane. Then example is canna. So symmetry of the flower, I hope this topic is also clear to you. Now see which is the anterior and posterior side of the flower. See, this is one stem and this is the node area. So flower is born in the axil of a leaf which is known as bract. So this is the leaf which is known as bract, and flower is born in its axil. So this is the stalk of the flower. Okay, this is the stalk of the flower. And let us assume this is the one person who is observing this. So this is the person who is observing this flower. So this is the eyes of that person. He is observing it. So according to him, bract is in the anterior side. Bract is present on the anterior side, and the main stem means mother axis. Okay, this is the mother axis. Mother axis will be present on the posterior side. So I hope anterior and posterior of flower is clear. This is the eye of the observer. And according to him, he will say bract is towards anterior side, and he will say mother axis is at the back side, means posterior side. So part of the flower which lies near the mother axis, we will say is posterior, which is away from mother axis is anterior. Understood why we say which is anterior, which is posterior? Because according to the eye of the observer, he is giving this statement. Now let us see the position of the floral part on thalamus. See here, check this diagram. This is the stalk, that is pedicel, and this swollen portion is the thalamus. Highest position is occupied by the gynoecium. This is the gynoecium is carpal ovary style stigma. And now see the other floral part. Other floral part will be coming below it. So see here, this is the stamen. This is the petal. And this is sepal. One condition. Check the second condition. This is the gynoecium, ovary style stigma. This is the stamen. Then see the petal. And then see the sepal. Okay, so difference is there in that first and second diagram. Now check the third diagram carefully. So this is your ovary, style, and stigma. Okay, now this is your stamen. This is petal. And this is sepal. So if you see in the first diagram, everything is coming below gynoecium. So below word means hypo, gynoecium means gynous. If you see in the second diagram, they are around ovary. So whenever word around means peri. Peri word means around. Around ovary means around gynoecium. So peri, gynous. And if you see here, they are present above ovary. Okay, all floral parts are present above ovary. So above means epi, gynous. So again, if you see everything is coming below gynoecium, so we will write this way. So hypogynous will be represented by this diagram. Perigynous means around, so we will write this way, perigynous. Epigynous means they are representing it this way. Now let us write the examples. Hypogynous example is your mustard, China rose, and brinjal. Perigynous example is your plum, rose, and peach. An epigynous example is your guava, cucumber, and ray floret of sunflower. So these are the types of flower depending upon the position of the ovary with respect to the other members. It is a nothing, it is a leaf in the axil of which flower is born. Leaf in the axil of which flower is born. Clear? Now see the modifications of it. If you see the bract modification, it can become petal-like. So we will say petaloid bract. It can become petal-like, and this example we generally find in the bougainvillea. So this example we generally find in the bougainvillea. It can become like a, you can say, spathe. One bract becomes colorful, large, that is known as spathe, and we find in the inflorescence that is known as spadix inflorescence. Example is your banana. Then the bract can become as a whorl. They are also making one whorl, and that whorl is known as involucre. Okay, involucre. And such type of conditions is seen in, let me write it, what is bract? Involucre means it is a whorl of a bract. And it is seen in the umbel inflorescence. Okay, it is seen in the umbel inflorescence. Example is your coriander. Next example is glooms. So glooms are dry, scaly bract. They are dry and scaly bract. They are generally seen in the family that is Gramineae family. So example is Gramineae family. So I hope in this topic, in this video, flower, what is anterior of the flower, what is posterior of the flower. Flowers are nothing, they are modified shoot in which calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium, four whorls are present, and they are nothing, they are modified leaf, which we have justified by applying gibberellic acid. We can see internode elongation. Is it clear? And then we have studied symmetry of the flower. We have studied the position of the other floral organs with respect to ovary and what is bract. So in the next video, we will be studying all the floral organs separately in detail.